Good day, 2024 Matrix. My name is SD Marange. I'm here to present the diagnostic report of your trial paper that you wrote in September, in the aim of assisting you to prepare for your final paper, which will be written on the 1st and 4th of November. I'm sure you are ready now and you are well prepared. At this time, we need to be hands-on. You need to know yourself where you are as a grade 12 learner. You know where you are, what you are going to do next year. So you need to be prepared and be ready, because everything matters now. The marks are important. And just to give you a brief background, is that all the SBA tasks that you have been doing from January to September, they now constitute 25%. And we are now going to work for 75% in the final exam. So now it's all hands on deck, and we have got our slogan, yes I can. And once you say yes you can, you are telling yourself from your mind that I can do this. So what you have to do, please, let's be ready. I'll take you through this, a short presentation for paper 1. I'll also take you through for paper 2 and expose you to the areas where you are lacking, areas where you need to push, areas where you need to hold, areas where you need to strengthen, and check where to go back and revise a little bit so that you will be able to be ready for the exam. So what you have to do here, I've started with paper 1. In your paper 1, you had 12 questions. So what is happening here, we've got a sample of a list that we took of learners' marks from question 1 up to question 12. So as we group them, I want you to understand what does it mean to say 65, 51, these percentages. These are your performance levels. So as you can see, question 1, we are performing at 65%, which means that in many cases, 65% of our learners are able to answer question 1. In question 2, it's 51%. Then you also look at question 3, it's 63%, 70% in question 4. Question 5 and 6 is 34 and 32 respectively. Question 7 is 42. Question 8 is 59. 29 in question 9. 31 in question 10. Question 11 is 42. And question 12 is 10%. And as you can see where the 10% is, that is the topics. The next slide that we are going to look at is looking at the topics. So as you can check, algebra, I can say we are okay because we are performing above 60%. Sequence and series, we need now to look at what is lacking. How I wish we can average everything above 60%. But look at functions. Our functions has gone down to 46%, finance 42%, calculus 40%, probability 26%. And the graph is sliding like that. It means as we are writing the exams, we start with so much energy and it fizzles out as you go down. So please look at this and try to balance all the topics. You know, like what I've said, you know where you stand. So check your papers. I'm sure right now you have seen your paper 1, you have seen your paper 2. You need to look at them and check where are you lacking. As an individual, you need to have that ability to check where you are lacking. Before someone comes and tell you that you have got a problem, you need to admit that it's me who have got a problem, so that you will be assisted. In such a way, if you don't do that, you will be forever thinking that you are okay, yet you will see the percentages. So look at this. These are paper 1 topics. As an individual, look at where you are basing, and please remember, algebra, it's plus or minus 25 marks. Sequence and series, plus or minus 25 marks. So the two topics there, they already give us 50 marks. Functions and calculus, it's 70 marks because it's 35. Then finance and probability is 15 each. That makes it 150. So as you can see here, let's work and see where are we lacking so that you don't have a challenge. So I wish we can try to improve, especially calculus. It's one topic which, if you are well prepared, you can score a lot of marks. Even functions, you can score marks there. But probability, it's a matter of understanding a language on probability as well as on finance. All right. Now, I've gone further to look at subsections, each question, and check where is the problem. And you will see, you'll agree with me, question number 1, effectorization, we are okay, 87%. Quadratic formula, we are okay, 82%. And then the next question was 1.1.3, which we are okay, but our performance is going down. That was inequality. Please, with inequality, you get more marks in the solution. More marks are in the solution, and you need to study the notation sign. Then 1.1.4 is the one for radical equations, where you need to square both sides. And please remember, once you square there, you are going to select a suitable solution, because some of them are not okay. They will not give you the solution. Simultaneous equation, you can see now, almost most of us, of the students, are able to answer that. Question 1.3, which required nature of roots, 17%. Now, with that, I think it's a higher order question, yes, but the clue was on the question part. Remember, it was asking when the roots are equal. So, if for equal roots, you need to remember the discriminant. For you to get a discriminant, you must have a quadratic formula, quadratic equation. That's one thing that you have to check there. So those are the things that you need to check and prepare. Underline keywords. That is one thing that you need to do, to underline keywords, so that you will be able to break it and unpack it, and you score some marks as you go on. Right. Let's move on to question number. This is a table of the content that was assessed. Quadratic equations for number 1, and you can see. So please check the questions that you have got a challenge with, and then you go on and revise. Let's look at question number 2. Question number 2, we were looking at sequence and series. Number 1, question 2.1, it was quadratic number patterns. So we are performing at 78%. The next one of justifying finding the next term that is given, the T35, we were performing at 80%. Then the next one, which needed a product, we performed at 16%. Same applies to the last question, which had this. So my conclusion here is that we need to read and understand questions before we answer them. Those that are straightforward, there is no problem, we are getting the marks. So please take note of these questions where you did not score good marks, like in your 2.3 and your 2.1.3. So please take note of those questions so that you will be able to prepare. Now, let's move on to question number 3. Look at this. This is a detailed picture of how you performed in question number 3. It's still sequence and series, and it was mainly of geometric series. Sum to infinity, it was clear. People are failing to get next 2 terms, which was number 3.1.1. Then 3.2, It's sigma notation. It's a matter of people going through to the basics. What do we need? What do we need? You have to know about the basics. So you can check there. That's the way it is: geometric sequence, geometric series, as well as geometric series. So please remember, in paper 1 you already know what is coming. So we need to work on this. All right. Now let's move on to question 4. You can see the picture. In question 4, it was okay. This was an appetizer for functions. So it's except for 4.4 and 4.5, which had below 70%. But 4.1, which needed the equations. And please take note, equation of asymptote. It's x equal to y equal to. Then 4.2, you also have the y-intercept, or the x-intercept, and the other one was y-intercept. So these questions that ask for y-intercept, x-intercept, we are supposed to get all those marks. There should be no problem. Question 4.4, you are required to sketch. So your sketch depends on the questions that you have done already. So please make sure that in a sketch, the 3 marks there, you're supposed to get them. Then 4.5 is an application, then of symmetry, axis of symmetry, which we need to know. So this is the way you were asked there, and you were expected to get those. Now, question number 5. We have the functions. The worry picture is on 5.3, 5.4, and 5.5, less than 30%. And it's mainly, if you look at those questions, 5.1, you were supposed to look for your axis of symmetry. 5.2, you were looking at point of intersection, where you equate 2 graphs. 5.3, supposed to use the distance, but here you are using from not distance formula, so for that, supposed to use from functions. 5.4, it's a range from your answers that you get. 5.5, it was application. So that's where most of us lost marks. Come to question number 6, it's still function. We have those challenges of questions that are below 50%, and yet your questions were application of its functions, inverse functions, the one that you were taught in grade 12. So please, let's go through this, all the inverse functions, how to write that, so that we know how to get that. Even the domain, which is starting in grade 10, was not well performed in 6.2.3. All right. Then in question, this is the content. In question 7, it was finance. The first question, 71% of us got that correct. 7.2, there was a challenge of people not putting the interest that was given both days. Remember, when you are looking at finance, you need to look at the language that is given. Please take note of that. Then question number 7.3.1, it's the balance that you have, so you need to work out that nicely, as well as question 7.3.2, it was also looking for that balance of the question, so you need to check those ones quite okay. So please, boys and girls, at this time we need to be very, very, very careful with answering our questions. Right. We move on to question number 8. First principles. We need to score above 90 because we know what to do. You know where to start. The formula is given. You must take note, the limit, the notation, everything. And you must also not be careful of not writing, substituting h equal to 0. You just drop the h. You don't write h equal to. We don't want to see the substitution h equal to 0. Then question 8.2. These are rules. You need to be working on that. 8.2.2 also rules. So please remember, there are always questions that will need you to simplify first, and you score marks in the simplification. So let's be careful on that, matriculants, and prepare. Then 8.3, we were looking at the application. So all these things, one thing that you must remember is when you hear the word a maximum and minimum, you must know that you are differentiating and equate to 0. And when you are doing these things, you are using your rules. So question 8 is one question that you need to score high marks because you already know what you are supposed to do. So here we are just saying, let's prepare and prepare and prepare. Practice, practice, practice will make everything perfect. We move on to question number 9. In your question number 9, it has got an application of your calculus. And in your application, one thing that you must take note of is to look at what is given and what is on the diagram. So you must use that. So this one, question 9.1.2, 9.1.3, 9.1.4, and question 9.2 were performed below 30%. We performed below 30%. It's only 9.1.1 where we had about 41%. So there is a challenge of our questions. That's where we've got. So e-cubic functions, we need to revise that, as well as the tangents and application of second derivatives. So you need to go through that and prepare. You must remember that time flies, but the good news is you are the pilot of that. So you know where you lack. You must sit down and check your work. Now in question 10, which is still application of a calculus again, question 10.1, 44%, 34%, 15%. We are going down and down and down and down. So there is 10.3, it was sort of an application of sequence and series where you need to add and check if they will get you a total of 500, and you see that they will not get that. So those are the things that you need to prepare and take note of. Then in question 10, okay, in question 11, we started on a low note, 27%, 17%, then 81% in 11.2.1, then 57% and 27% in the last question. And we are looking at Venn diagram, application of Venn diagram. Then we worked with contingent tables in the other two questions. So please remember, of the 15 marks that you have on probability, about 9 marks will be in grade 10 and 11 work. So you need to prepare there and be ready on that. Then in your question number 12, there is that disaster that happened because of counting principles, reading. Sometimes that's why I said in probability and finance, we need to be very careful of the language. Please, you need to underline keywords. You notice here 17%. There was a long statement that was given of number plates, of what. So you needed to break it down and check. You know, there are things that we are supposed to know as grade 12s, like prime numbers. You need to know them. Letters of the alphabet, you need to know them. And if they say we are removing vowels, what happens there? So those are the issues that you need to look at and you check. So with this, you need to be very careful there and prepare well in advance. So boys and girls, this is your performance, and I'm sure you have noticed where you have gone wrong. So what it means now is, at this time, you need to work and you practice. We check normally the low-hanging fruits. We always say practice, practice, and you look for low-hanging fruits. There are questions that you know that if it comes without stress, you must get marks. Are we together that? You must get marks straight away with no challenge. So please take note of the other thing. Take note of the keywords. Take note of the keywords in any question. You must take note of the keywords and underline what you need to do. Because all the things your teachers have taught you from grade 10 to 12, what is left now is for you to prepare. And another thing, if you can work with in history, yes, we can also bring history in maths. History, we say, is the study of what? Of the past events. Then we use it effectively to shape our future. So when looking at your trial exams, you must have your question papers. You also get question papers from other provinces. Look at those ones. Check where you have gone wrong. Try to understand what could have happened. And please, at this time, you need to attend school regularly. If there are classes that are organized at wherever you are at your school, be there. Form your groups. By this time, we cannot talk of saying form groups. They are already there, your groups, and you know what to do. Work with your friends and be prepared for the 1st of November as well as the 4th of November, so that by then you will be able to answer questions properly and get marks. Remember, we have got a target of a good percentage above 60, and we need to reach that and even aim for 70% in mathematics. And yes, you can. Yes, I can. That is the slogan. Once you say, yes, I can, you are giving yourself a morale booster to say, I can do this. And once you tell yourself that you can do it, it has to come from yourself, within yourself. Try to motivate yourself. You know where you are going, and there are so many people who are waiting for your performance and to celebrate with you, starting with you, your parents, your mother, your father, whoever, your close relatives. They are waiting for you to pass, and everyone wants to pass. So at this moment, at this juncture, I want to say, please, it seems impossible, but it will be done. That's from Nelson Mandela. Let me thank you for that paper 1. Thank you very much for this.